euros, credit cards, and cash apps. Today's episode is all about how you'll spend money when you're in Ireland.
Hi, welcome back to the Traveling in Ireland podcast. Today, I'm continuing the Planning Your Ireland Vacation series that I began back in episode 124. If you're a new listener, you might want to go back to the beginning and get all the tips. Today's episode is about when to get your euros, how to use your credit cards, and the cash app that you should have before you go to Ireland. Now, I do want to remind you that setting a budget for your Ireland vacation, even though it's not really fun, is the key to enjoying your vacation and not regretting it when you return home and then all those bills start coming in. The new My Ireland Vacation Planner and Journal follows the exact steps that I use to plan my own Ireland travel and tours. It has 4 sections: planning, which includes creating your vacation budget, itinerary, travel tips, and then a journal, and leads you through each step of creating the Ireland trip that you've been dreaming about. You're going to find easy to use worksheets, loads of advice, and fun journaling prompts to help you remember your magical Ireland vacation. You'll find this planner and journal at irelandfamilyvacations.com/Ireland planner. And don't forget to use code podcast10 for a 10% savings. So we're going to first jump into this talking about currency. Ireland's main currency is the euro. So usually when you're thinking about a trip to Ireland, you are thinking about the 26 counties of the Republic of Ireland. All use the euro. Now, most places that you visit will be able to take your credit card or your debit card, so you don't really need to take that much cash. In fact, I don't even get euros before I leave the US. So, how and when to get euros for your Ireland vacation? If you want euros before you leave the US, I recommend contacting your personal bank first so you can avoid hefty currency fees. Now, if you are a member of AAA or another travel program, they may also be able to get euros for you, but be sure to check and see how much they're going to charge you for that service. If your bank has euros or has access to euros, they do usually have a minimum amount of euros you can order. I know my own personal bank, I have to get at least 250 euro in cash. Some more, some will be less. And because many banks don't carry foreign currency anymore, you want to make that order at least 3 weeks in advance, just in case they have to get it from another location. Be sure that when you make that order, you request some small bills, some 5s and some 10s, so you aren't arriving with only 50 euro bills. And also request that you don't get any bills larger than 50 euro. Now, if you want to wait and get euros on arrival, which is what I do, you're going to find your best currency exchange rates at an ATM. Do not, and I will say this again, do not use the currency exchange kiosks at the airport or scattered throughout tourist areas, because their exchange rates are the highest you will pay anywhere. So 5 tips for using your credit and or debit card at an ATM. Number 1, notify your bank and your credit card before you travel. You can do that. Most banks and credit cards now, well, actually some credit cards don't even require you to notify them anymore. But check for each individual one. Usually on the website, there is a travel alert that you can fill out, and lets them know where you're going and when you're going, so they can make sure that there aren't any activity happening outside of that normal for your travel times. And if you don't notify your bank and you try to use your ATM card, it's likely to go into the machine and not come out. So don't forget to notify your bank. The second thing that you need to know is that you will need a numerical 4-digit PIN number. So if your bank or ATM card has a different security PIN on it, make sure you talk to your bank and get that set to a 4-digit numerical PIN. Number 3, remember that not all credit and debit cards are accepted in Ireland. Now, anything with a Visa or MasterCard logo, you're going to be able to use those anywhere credit cards are taken. Discover is not accepted anywhere in Ireland, and American Express can be hit or miss. You might be able to use it at larger stores. You'll use it car rentals and things like that. But smaller shops are more than likely not going to take it because the fees are just crazy high, and so they choose not to. Now, number 4, when you're using an ATM, you may incur a fee from the Irish bank. The ATMs will let you know if there is a fee for using the machine, so you can obviously decline it, pull your card out and go elsewhere. But you also might get an exchange fee from your own bank. So make sure that you know the fees you're going to incur when you use a card. Now, I know there are credit cards out there that don't have an exchange fee, and they're great. But if you do use a credit card of that type to withdraw funds, know that if you carry a balance on your card, that balance has a higher interest rate than the regular use balance. So again, if you're using your card to get cash, understand all of the fees that you may incur. And number 5, for peace of mind, I really recommend using an ATM as a bank. If your card is pulled into the machine and it's at a bank, you can often just go in and let them know that, the machine didn't give you your card back, and they'll be able to retrieve it. If you're using an ATM at a gas station or the airport, which I do use the airport ATM, but if you're using it someplace that is, where the ATM is owned outside the business, you're probably not going to get that card back very quickly, if at all. So let's talk about for a minute getting cash at the airport. Now, when I arrive in Ireland, the first stop I make, and it's usually even before I get my bags, because my bags probably haven't come out yet, is the ATM, and I get some cash. So at Dublin Airport, you're going to find ATMs in both Terminal 1 and Terminal 2. In Terminal 1, the ATM machines are in the departures area opposite Area 5 check-in desk, as you exit the baggage hall on the left, and in the arrivals opposite the exit from security clearance. In Terminal 2, which is where most flights from America, any place outside the EU, flights land in Terminal 2, so international flights. You have ATM machines available in the baggage hall and at the airside departures lounge. If you're arriving in Shannon Airport, you're going to find ATM machines at the departures check-in and in the arrival hall. You're also going to find an ATM in the transit lounge after security clearance if you need it when you're flying out. Now, one final thing about paying for things in Ireland. If you like to use a Cash App, you're not going to find very many vendors that accept Venmo. In Ireland, the majority of Cash App service is handled with the Revolut app. So if you decide that you want to use that, you're going to want to set it up on your phone before you depart for Ireland, because if you try to set it up in Ireland, it's going to notice that you're out of a country where you live and it's not going to work. So if you want to use a Cash App, download Revolut and get it set up before you go. One more thing I do want to mention, because I did tell you that Ireland in the Republic uses the euro. The 6 counties of Northern Ireland are on the Great British Pound. And there are very few places to use, in all honesty, no place in the Republic is going to take the pound. Very few places in the North are going to take the euro. You might find a few places right along the border that will kind of cross-pollinate their money, but not a lot because the exchange rates are different. So when you cross into the north, you can hit an ATM, get some euros. When I am getting money out of an ATM, I will maybe get the equivalent of 50, euro or pounds per day for the time I'm there. So if I'm going up to the north for 3 days, I might withdraw 150 pound. If I'm going to be in Ireland for 7 days, I can't withdraw 350 euro because my bank has a limit. So also make sure you know your bank limits. But that's kind of the level I use, I guess, to determine how much money to withdraw. I usually don't withdraw more than 250 euro at a time because I really do use my debit card more than anything when I'm in Ireland anymore. But you do want to have a little bit of cash on hand for leaving tips, for maybe paying a parking meter. If they don't, some of them have a tap now, but just have a little bit of cash on hand because you never know when you might need it.
I hope this podcast episode answered your questions about getting euros and how you're spending your money in Ireland. But if it didn't, you can always email me, Jody, Jody, at IrelandFamilyVacations.com, and I'll get right back to you. If you enjoyed this podcast, please leave a 5-star review at Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. If you can't leave a review on your podcast app, you can leave a review at Ireland Family Vacations Facebook page. Or if you're listening on your mobile device, just snap a picture, pop it into your Instagram stories, and tag me at Ireland Family Vacations. Put a few nice words on there. Thank you so much for listening to this episode, and until next time, Slán go fóill.